Hello and welcome. Tonight, search and rescue efforts continue at the scene of Tuesday's explosion in the Bodija area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, as death toll rises to 5, with some residents still missing. Federal government to arraign former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele tomorrow at the FCT High Court Abuja on an amended 20-count charge as the court grants his request to travel out of the FCT. And Supreme Court dismisses appeal filed by ADC candidate challenging the election of Governor Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State. Reserves judgment in the PDP's appeal against the victory of Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State.
On business news tonight, Nigeria's revenue from non-oil sector exports declines to $4.5 billion in 2023, down from $4.8 billion in 2022.
On sports news tonight, Super Eagles of Nigeria defeat the Elephants of Cote d'Ivoire 1-0 to record their first win at the ongoing Africa Cup of Nations.
From Abuja, the House of Representatives Committee asked the Ministries of Trade and Investment, as well as Health, to refund a total of 85 billion naira COVID-19 intervention fund to the federal government.
And in international news from London, Pakistan has launched missile strikes into Iran, killing 9 people after Iran carried out strikes in Pakistan on Tuesday.
Two more bodies have been recovered as search and rescue efforts continue at the scene of Tuesday's explosion in the Bodija area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, bringing the total death toll to 5. One victim was rescued earlier today after more than 30 hours under the rubble. Meanwhile, some residents are said to still be missing, as others who survived are trying to salvage what is left of their belongings. We'll have more on that story and much later in the bulletin. Now to legal matters. The federal government is set to arraign the former Central Bank of Nigeria Governor Godwin Emefiele tomorrow at the FCT High Court in Abuja on an amended 20-count charge. The amended 20-count charge was filed by the Counsel to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC, Senior Advocate of Nigeria Rotimi Oyedepo, and 3 others on behalf of the Attorney General of the Federation. A counsel to Mr. Emefiele, Matthew Burka, told the court that the defense was served the new charge on Wednesday and needed time to study it. Based on the developments, the court adjourned sitting till Friday, January the 19th, for the new charge to be taken. The amended charges against Mr. Godwin Emefiele include alleged criminal breach of trust, forgery, conspiracy to commit forgery, procurement fraud, and conspiracy to commit felony. Meanwhile, Justice Hamza Muazu has varied the bail condition granted to Mr. Emefiele by granting his request to travel out of the FCT. Justice Muazu, however, says he must remain within the country. Meanwhile, the EFCC has approached the Court of Appeal to set aside a no-case ruling granted former Niger State Governor Dr. Muazu Aliyu and former Chairman PDP Niger State Tanko Beji by Justice Abdullahi Mukailu of the Niger State High Court sitting in Minna on December 7th, 2023. In a statement by the EFCC head, Media and Publicity, Dele Uyiwole, the Commission had filed a 7-count charge bordering on conspiracy, abatement, and criminal breach of trust before Justice Aliyu Meyaki, now retired, against Dr. Aliyu, Mr. Beji, and the former Commissioner for Environment and Chief of Staff to Dr. Muazu Aliyu, Umar Mohamed Nasco. The matter was later reassigned to Justice Abdullahi Mukailu, and the EFCC called 11 witnesses and then tendered over 400 exhibits and closed its case. However, the 3 defendants made a no-case submission before the court on December 7th, 2023, which was granted in favor of Dr. Aliyu and Mr. Beji, and directed Mr. Nasco to open his defense. Dissatisfied with the ruling on Dr. Aliyu and Mr. Beji regarding their no-case submission, the EFCC persuaded that a prima facie case had been established against them and filed a notice of appeal dated January the 10th this year at the Court of Appeal. The EFCC insists it is proceeding in its appeal against Dr. Aliyu and Mr. Beji at the Court of Appeal with all its evidence against them and is optimistic that justice will be done. In River State, a high court sitting in Port Harcourt, presided over by Justice Monina Danagogo, has convicted and sentenced 3 men to death by hanging on charges of kidnapping. Although 4 suspects were arraigned in court for the kidnap of late Chief Abur Ogbubula in June 2017, only 3 were convicted, while the 4th suspect was discharged and acquitted. The 3 men, identified as Boma Thompson, Emelike Matthias, and Daniel Thanggod, were convicted on 4 charges of conspiracy to kidnapping, conspiracy to murder, and murder of the late Chief Abur Ogbubula. Chief Ogbubula was kidnapped in Ahoda and taken by his abductors to Manikin Bush in Degema local government area, where he was held hostage and died eventually in the hands of his abductors. He was buried in a shallow grave in the said bush, but his body was later exhumed in the course of police investigation of the case. Now, staying with legal matters, the Supreme Court has dismissed the appeal filed by the candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Mr. Nafiu Bala, against the election of Governor Mohammed Yahaya of Gombe State. A 5-member panel of the Apex Court, led by Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, dismissed the appeal shortly after it was withdrawn by the appellants. Now, the Apex Court also adjourned till Friday, January the 19th, for judgment in the other appeal filed by Mr. Jibrin Bardi of the People's Democratic Party, that's the PDP. Meanwhile, the panel reserved judgment in the appeals filed by the People's Democratic Party of Kaduna State and its governorship candidate, Mr. Ashiru Issa, against the election of Governor Uba Sani. Our judiciary correspondent, Emanuela Ekele, reports.
Appeals are up for hearing at the Supreme Court. Interested party members from both states are here to witness the proceedings. Senior lawyers are not left out as they converse in the not-so-filled courtroom, patiently waiting for the commencement of the hearings. The first case to be heard is the Kaduna governorship appeal. The People's Democratic Party and its governorship candidate, Mr. Ashiru Issa, are challenging the outcome of the governorship election held in the state in March last year. They allege that Governor Uba was not duly elected by a majority of valid votes cast in the election, and the election was invalid because of corrupt practices and non-compliance with provisions of the Electoral Act 2022. Counsel to Governor Uba Sani, Mr. Bayo Ojo, asked the Apex Court to dismiss the appeal for lacking in merit. He says the totality of the case of the PDP and its governorship candidate did not establish any of the allegations. The senior lawyer argued that most of the appellant's witness statements were invalid because they were not filed alongside the petition. Thereafter, he asked that the appeal be dismissed and judgments of the lower courts, which had earlier upheld the election of his client, be upheld. After adopting their argument, Justice Kudirat Kekereekun, who led a 5-member panel, reserved judgment in the suit.
We're just here today to present our arguments. We've done so, and it's up to the court.
We have presented enough facts and the law to warrant a reconsideration and a reversal of the decision of the appellate court. And we believe that hopefully we'll have a favorable outcome and a good day.
Back in the courtroom, the panel dismissed the appeal filed by the candidate of the African Democratic Congress, Mr. Nafiu Bala, against the election of Governor Muhammad of Gombe State. At the hearing, the panel queried the counsel to the ADC, Mr. Herbert Nwoye, on the incompetence of his client's case. Mr. Nwoye subsequently applied to withdraw the appeal after taking the hint from the court, a move which was not opposed by the respondent and was accordingly dismissed.
They asked the number of votes my client had at the trial, at the election, and we stated that. They asked some other questions and we answered, without prejudice to the fact that that's actually not the grounds for the bringing the petition, but because of the policy nature of this court, we're all bound to observe and respect that policy.
The Apex Court also fixed Friday for judgment in another appeal filed by Mr. Jibrin Bardi of the PDP, Gombe State. The Supreme Court is expected to deliver judgments in more petitions on Friday, January 19. Emanuela Ekele, Channels Television News.
The fight against oil theft in the Niger Delta continues, and this time the Nigerian Army has confiscated over 3 million litres of stolen crude oil at an illegal refinery operating in River State. The operation was led by the General Officer commanding 6th Division of the Nigerian Army, Major General Jamal Abdulsalam, at the site in Akwa Odiogwa in Eche local government area. They discovered various kinds of equipment used for the illegal activity and even arrested some artisans suspected to have aided the transportation of the illegally refined products. 2 swamp buggy tractors were deployed to destroy the equipment used in the activities, with the 6th Division GOC warning those involved in the operation to desist, as security operatives will continue to go after them. The Supreme Council for Sharia in Nigeria has tasked President Bola Tinubu to tackle insecurity headlong and also to take decisive action to cushion the effects of the hard economic decisions taken by his administration. After meeting with the president, the council told State House correspondents that they came to submit the communique of a just concluded conference which reviewed the 2023 elections to the president and also intimate him about the mood of the citizenry. It said the council reviewed the nation's last general elections in order to create a consensus and prefer possible solutions to perceived contending issues.
We are here to pay a courtesy call to the president and to show our solidarity and commendation and to commend him on the hard decisions that he has taken for the country, and also to request that expedite action must be taken to cushion the effects of the hard economic decisions that were taken, and also to bring out everything that is in the arsenal to face the problem of insecurity in this country, and also to achieve food security. And we also submitted to him the communique of our just concluded conference, which brought about Islamic scholars, academics, intellectuals, and civil society organizations to make a post-mortem of the 2023 elections and to create a consensus on the way forward for the country, which we'll present to government, and we presented the communique to him. We got very good assurances from the president, very encouraging remarks that calls for us to continue praying intensely for the success of the administration and for peace and security and development of the country, which we have been doing, and we are intensifying our prayers for the country and for the leadership of the country.
In part 2, after the break, Vice President Kashim Shettima explains Nigeria's participation at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Plus, governors of the South states meet under the Brace Commission in Benin City, the Edo State capital, pledge to work with the federal government to address the challenges facing the region. Please stay with us. Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10. Coming to you live on Channels Television Lagos. A reminder of our top stories. Search and rescue continue at the scene of Tuesday's explosion in the Bodija area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, as death toll rises to 5, with some residents still missing. Federal government to arraign former CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele tomorrow at the FCT High Court Abuja on an amended 20-count charge as the court grants his request to travel out of the FCT. Supreme Court dismisses appeal filed by ADC candidates challenging the election of Governor Inuwa Yahaya of Gombe State, reserves judgment in PDP's appeal against the victory of Governor Uba Sani of Kaduna State. And Pakistan has launched missile strikes into Iran, killing 9 people after Iran carried out strikes in Pakistan on Tuesday. As the 54th annual meeting of the World Economic Forum draws to a close, the Nigerian delegation, led by Vice President Kashim Shettima, has been involved in a series of engagements both inside and on the sidelines of the official gathering. Earlier today, our London correspondent, Juliana Olayinka, had a chat with the Vice President, who gave an overview of the importance of the trip to the country.
You know, Nigeria represents Africa. It's the most populous nation in Africa. It has its largest economy. And the trajectory of global growth is facing Africa, and Nigeria will make or mar that transition. So we have to be in Gabos to sell the Nigerian brand Because wherever Nigeria goes, that's where Africa goes. I appreciate, I applaud, I celebrate the success stories of Botswana, of Mauritius, and even of Rwanda. But when you look at the size, what is the population of Botswana? 2.6 million people. What's the population of Mauritius? 1,300,557 people. Even Rwanda has a population of 14.9 million people. All pews, they are not bigger than metropolitan Kano. So the performance of Nigeria is absolutely essential. We are caught at an intersection of shifting geopolitical dynamics, of the complexities of recurring supply chains, and of course, the complexities, the demands of changing international trade and energy transition. So with President Bola Ahmed Tinubu at the helm of affairs and firing on all cylinders, we have never had it so good in terms of governance. And he mandated me, go and sell the Nigerian dream. And I am here to showcase Nigeria to the world.
Nigeria's Vice President Kashim Shettima. Over now to Edo State, where the Council of the Braced Commission, a forum of South-South governors, today reconvenes to address the challenges facing the region. The governors of Bayelsa, Akwa Ibom, and Rivers States were present at the meeting, alongside their Edo State counterpart, while those of Delta and Cross River States were absent. The new chairman of the commission, Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki, read a 7-point communique issued after their closed-door meeting at the Government House in Benin City, the Edo State capital.
Council resolved as follows. 1. To foster regional economic cooperation and integration with a view to achieving sustainable development through the development of a strong regional economy for the collective benefit of the people of the South-South, and invigorate the process of regional economic cooperation and integration. To establish and inaugurate the Braced Business Council. This council should endeavor to forge a closer partnership with the Business Council and utilize it to provide and improve the business and climate to attract investors and businesses into the region. 3, to collectively engage the federal government on the development of key infrastructure in the region, particularly roads, rail development, and the decentralization and rehabilitation of seaports in the region, as well as the management of security in the country at large. 4, to engage the NDDC to ensure that its activities benefit the Braced States. To forge a closer and cordial relationship with other regions for the creation of economic corridor that will immensely be beneficial to all these regions. 7, to pledge our commitment to work with the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to improve the standard of living of the people of the South-South region of Nigeria.
The national chairman of the Labour Party, Mr. Julius Abur, has dismissed the rumors of his purported arrest. Speaking to Channels Television, Mr. Abur wondered how he would have met with officials of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, and at the same time presided over the National Working Committee meeting of the party for its Edo State governorship primaries. He also maintains that the party has no pact with the Edo State Deputy Governor, Mr. Philip Shaibu, who is contesting the PDP ticket for the governorship election in Edo State this year.
It is usually the annual ritual of INEC as part of their constitutional responsibility to carry out verification exercise in political parties. The intention is to ensure that parties are compliant with the Constitution, there's compliance with the Electoral Act, and even with the constitution of the party itself. And so for INEC to be able to do this, they have to visit the party and carry out verification exercise. And so that was exactly what they came to carry out in the office on Tuesday. And the records are very clear. All Nigerians have seen that under my leadership, Labour Party have done exceedingly well. Well, the party is open to all Nigerians who wishes to be members of the party, who can drive their aspiration in the party. But I want to say clearly that as at now, we are not in talk with the Deputy Governor of Edo State, though he's our friend, but that is not to say that we are in talk. It is not to my knowledge that he's making moves to join the party. But like I said, every political party is open to all Nigerians, and the Deputy Governor is a Nigerian, and therefore very free to associate. There's freedom of association, so he has freedom to join any political party of his choice and pursue his aspirations. But nothing is concretized yet.
All right, let's head to the nation's capital, where Gloria Omiz is standing by to give us the very latest from our Abuja studios. Gloria.
Well, many thanks, Ayo. We begin with the National Assembly, where the House of Representatives Committee on Public Accounts is asking the Federal Ministry of Trade and Investment to refund 75 billion naira COVID-19 intervention fund to the federal government. The Public Accounts Committee passed this resolution at an investigative hearing on COVID-19 funds in Abuja. The committee observed that it had sent 3 written invitations to the ministry to appear before it and account for the funds to no avail. Similarly, the committee is asking the Federal Ministry of Health to refund the sum of 10 billion naira, which was budgeted for the COVID-19 vaccine production but is yet to be utilized by the ministry. Meanwhile, the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Mr. Nyesom Wike, has condemned the slow rate of work on some projects in Abuja. He expressed his displeasure while meeting with contractors after an inspection of some of the projects. According to him, the situation is delaying the flag-off of other projects. Our correspondent, Kumbi Abuluwadi, reports.
Inspection of ongoing projects in the Federal Capital Territory has become a regular routine for the FCT Minister, Nyesom Wike, to do a first-hand assessment of the work done at different project sites. The focus today is the Guzape district, beginning with this Lot 2 road. The minister proceeds to the Guzape district extension, where access roads have been mapped for construction to pave the way for major development in the area. At one of the project sites, the contractor lamented how some residents pressured him to stop work. These projects, which is an access road leading up to the Central Bank of Nigeria, is one out of other projects the FCT minister has inspected today. And contractors have promised that in less than a month, this project will be completed.
Very well, we're happy what was saw Guzape Lot 2. But there's one setback, which we just noticed there, about the House of Rights member trying to stop the company from further construction. We're not going to take it lightly. This is not a private project, it's a public project.
Back to his office, the minister met with contractors of the Asokoro Road resurfacing project. He laments the slow pace of work and reads the Riot Act to them.
For the past 1 week, I've been going around on my own, particularly around my exits. All I saw, you see signs of construction by putting their security, traffic management. There's no one equipment there. If you know you're not willing to work, indicate.
The minister, officials of the FCTA, and the contractors then went into a closed-door session. From the nation's capital, Kumbi Abuluwade, Channels Television News.
The Gombe state government says it is carrying out statewide surveillance and has placed clinicians on alert in its efforts to contain the spread of Lassa fever. This was made known by the Commissioner for Health, Dr. Habu Dahiru, after a 25-year-old driver was diagnosed with Lassa fever following his stay in Adamawa State for 2 weeks. Although he assures that his ministry is tackling the situation, the ministry urges members of the public to improve personal hygiene, avoid conditions that encourage multi-mammate rat infestation, and promptly report conditions with symptoms of Lassa fever, especially because there is no vaccine for the disease. Well, still ahead on the news at 10. Nigeria's revenue from non-oil sector declines to $4.5 billion in 2023, down from $4.8 billion in 2022, according to the latest report from the Export Promotion Council. That's in business news. So join us again.
Welcome back. Former Secretary General of the Commonwealth, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, is 91 years old, and to celebrate the milestone, Governor Chukwuma Soludo and other important personalities converged on Obosi, his country home in Idemili local government area of Anambra State. To mark the auspicious day, the Emeka and Bumi Anyaoku Foundation, a place dedicated to the preservation of culture and learning, was inaugurated by the governor.
It's a double celebration for Nigeria's renowned diplomat and former Commonwealth Secretary General, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, at his country home of Obosi, Idemili North Local Government Area of Anambra State. It is his 91st birthday, and to mark the event, this edifice was built by Chief Anyaoku for the Emeka and Bumi Anyaoku Foundation, and the Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, describes the center as a place for learning and cultural preservation.
This is quite befitting for a couple that has traversed the world with global knowledge, expertise, the embodiment of all that is who we are without the global knowledge, and I wish it could also be a center for mentorship. I understand you have artifacts, some kind of a museum also here, that we may come here and have almost like an encyclopedia of history. This will be a knowledge bank.
The director of the center provides insight into what the facility stands for.
In our library, we have nothing less than 20,000 books. Science, art, Nigeriana, Africana, from all walks of life. Even if you love fashion, it's there.
In celebrating Chief Anyaoku, the Obi of Onitsha, His Royal Majesty Nnaemeka Achebe, as well as the Governor of Anambra State, Professor Soludo, describe him as one who has given his best to Nigeria and the world.
Chief Anyaoku has been variously described as one of the greatest human minds of Africa. A global citizen who thinks for, a global statesman extraordinary, an astute negotiator, a peacemaker, and a born diplomat.
This is a life devoted not for himself and about himself, but a life for what? Public purpose. A life for others, to make society better.
Next, the celebrant cuts the birthday cake.
Yes, you.
The former Commonwealth scribe, Chief Emeka Anyaoku, appreciates those who came to honor him and also speaks about the role of the center he established with his wife.
Today's commissioning of this center is a fulfillment of a dream my wife and I have had for many years. We have always wanted to support education of our young people and indeed also our adults. And by providing a library here, we hope that the library will assist the young people and the adults.
For the government and people of Anambra State, it's a happy birthday to Chief Emeka Anyoku, who is a gift from Anambra to Nigeria and to the world.
The University of Lagos has concluded its 54th convocation, which featured the award of PGD, Master's and PhD degrees. At the ceremony, the best PhD student who bagged the award of the School of Postgraduate Studies called for improved welfare for workers in the academia. The award ceremony also witnessed 377 students who bagged first class.
It always will be a day of memories and sense of fulfillment. A hall full of these men and women qualified to be awarded various degrees.
On the PhD graduates to come forth.
On this side are the presiding officers making up the numbers in this packed hall. Let's start with the Vice Chancellor's opening words.
On Tuesday, January 16, 2024, we began the three-day degree conferment event that has culminated today in a total of 17,456 students receiving various awards. Today, 6,886 deserving students from the School of Postgraduate Studies and the University of Lagos Business School will be conferred with the award of postgraduate diplomas, Master of Arts, Master of Science, Master of Business Administration, Doctor of Philosophy, and Doctor of Business Administration.
17,456 graduates making up this award ceremony. 377 students graduated first class and a conferment of honorable doctorate degree on 3 distinguished personalities, including Professor Tahiru Jega. Aminat Olaomige, PhD in Mathematics, got the overall Best PhD Thesis Award.
May the Almighty bless the men who support these women to grow, knowing that it hampers not their own personal growth. My fellow graduates, we are now doctors, and my prayer for us is that may these degrees open endless doors of opportunities and blessings unto us. May we continue to thank God every day for embarking on this journey. God bless the University of Lagos.
While Issa Adedoku, Private and Property Law, won the best PhD in the humanities. There are 31 international students for the master's degree and also 31 international students for the master's degree. The Minister of Education is representing the convocation visitor, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, with this pledge on serving education right.
Universities are central to the attainment of ordinary Nigeria, and all the support and necessary changes must be put in place to achieve our desired aim. To mitigate the challenges of the removal of subsidy, this administration has signed the Students' Loan Bill into law. Under this law, indigent Nigerian students will have access to interest-free loans to see them through their stay in government-owned higher institutions.
University of Lagos is looking at a new charter to further deepen its acclaimed pride of place.
One thing I really hope I will do is changing our mindsets. That's a very intangible, but it comes through getting back to our values, pushing our culture, appreciating the things that we do that are homegrown. Now, that's not to say we shouldn't borrow anything, you know, so that's one. But again, a lot of it is technology. This is a huge university and it's growing even bigger. If we're going to get efficient service, we've got to automate all our processes. And that's something that, if that's the only thing I do, I'll be a very happy woman.
It's a first convocation on the saddle and has been well put up. The community and the nation look up to these new graduates who are said to have been worthy of learning and character to bring this to bear in their next endeavors. Olu Phillips, Channels Television News.
To company news, Samsung has unveiled the Galaxy S24 Ultra, Galaxy S24 Plus, and Galaxy S24 at the colorful annual Samsung Galaxy Unpacked event held in Lagos. Guests were treated to new mobile experiences with the Galaxy AI. With the new S24 series, Samsung aims to take messaging, photos, videos, and gaming to the next level with artificial intelligence.
It's a night of fun, and there's a whole lot to unpack as Samsung introduces new set of smartphones into the market. The smartphones are AI integrated, and they come with smart translation and transcription services. The circle-to-search feature also sets the phone apart.
For AI to be transformational, its capability must be safe and accessible to all. That is our goal as Samsung, to make it work for you, to make it work for all.
With this AI development, users will be guaranteed more security about their personal data, end-to-end and real-time information sharing. So it's not just about us, it's an open collaboration we have with other AI inventors.
The new phones also allow users to access a function that enables real-time languages and dialects interpretation during calls. The device is unveiled and the guests here are excited to get the first-hand experience.
With the AI algorithm, and some other features that Samsung actually integrated on the Samsung Galaxy S series, we are fully covered actually. So you can actually enjoy your game for a longer period of time, enjoy photography, enjoy streaming, and so on and so forth for a much more longer period of time without having to worry about getting juiced out or something.
We have other features. We have the Note Assist, we have the Chat Assist. Basically, this phone just makes life easier for our consumers. The camera is amazing. The battery has been optimized. You know, the gaming function, oh my God, super amazing. So, I mean, who wouldn't want to buy this?
Driven by a new demand for AI phones, Samsung is thrilling its users by churning out these new smartphones to maximize their creative and as well change how they discover the world around them.
It's now time for some business news with Joker Rogers.
Thank you so much, Ayo. Welcome to Business News. Nigeria raked in a total of $4.5 billion in revenue from non-oil exports in 2023, lower than the $4.8 billion realized the previous year, and that's according to the latest report from the Nigerian Export Promotion Council. While briefing newsmen on the 2023 progress report of the non-oil export sector in Abuja, the Chief Executive Officer of the NEPC, Mrs. Nonye Ayeni, said that the drop in the revenue was a result of the political tensions. She identified the rejection of some of the nation's non-oil commodities as some of the major factors responsible for the decline compared to that of 2022. At the same time, the NEPC boss says over 6.6 million metric tons of non-oil products were exported from the country in 2023. The Nigerian Communications Commission has suspended the planned disconnection of Globalcom subscribers by MTN Nigerian Communications over an outstanding interconnection debt dispute for 21 days with effect from January 17th. In a statement sent to newsmen and signed by the NCC's Director of Public Affairs, Mr. Ruben Moka, the Commission says the disconnection will have serious repercussions which drew the need for intervention. The Commission also says that both parties have now reached an agreement to resolve all outstanding issues between them. From there, we head over to the stock market, which is still breaking new record highs amidst strong buy sentiments by local investors. Laddie Williams tells us more.
Hello and welcome to the Stock Market Report. So from crossing the 90K level just yesterday, the bulls are not slowing down at all. It's 91,896 points, 2.04%. This is looking like the new normal at this point with this rise as we see. And with the market cap 50 trillion level, comfortably standing on that level for now. And definitely, I guess 100,000 is the next target at this point because 90K was knocked out like nothing. Let's look at the sectoral performance now. We're seeing the banking counter still a lot of profit taken there, or the fugas, with sell pressure on the fugas at this point. Consumer goods, that's up 0.87%. Oil and gas, on the flip side now, 2.69%. Big jump. We've seen marginal rises for a couple of days now, but we're seeing a convincing jump there of 2.69%. Let's look at the SWOTs now. Stocks worth over 1 trillion. For a few weeks now, we've seen the cement giants jumping there. BUA, 8.96%. Dangote Cement, that's up 8.27%. We did get that report from Cardinal Stone Research. They did say that the Nigerian cement industry is expected to benefit from the renewed government focus on infrastructure development and construction projects. Maybe that's why investors are taking position right there. But all the SWOTs we have there unchanged. MTN Nigeria, marginal gain about 0.03%. So that's how your money performed today. Final trading day, tomorrow, maybe a new high. I'm Laddie Williams.
That's it on business news on the news at 10. Ayotune, back to you.
Back to our lead story from Oyo State, where we have told you that 2 more bodies have been recovered as search and rescue efforts continue at the scene of Tuesday's explosion in the Bodija area of Ibadan in the Oyo State capital, bringing the total death toll to 5. One victim was rescued earlier today after spending more than 30 hours under the rubble. Meanwhile, some residents are said to still be missing, even as others who survived are trying to salvage what is left of their belongings.
What we are doing now is to start getting all relevant informations in terms of material loss, in terms of extent of damage, in terms of if there's still any need for, in terms of more bodies recover. So what we are currently doing is to gather those information and send it forward to Emergency Operations Office, where a daily update will be given. That is what currently we are doing now. It seems that there are some illegal miners dwelling in that particular house, and which is not known to majority of the public. So because of either a small fire ignited something. So what is not good at such an explosive instrument device are not supposed to be kept in the residential area. It has its own where it will be stored. So it was stored in bulk. A small spark heated it up and become what we are witnessing today, where this improvised a kind of a sockaway where it was stored and where the thing got exploded. So it's not new to everybody, but if not for what happened, we would not know that thing was stored there. Even the majority who are staying in the street never noticed that such a dangerous device is residing in that particular location. Like today, I said there is one more today. I think they have been sent to the government mortuary morgue. So making 4 now. It is today they have discovered 1, so maybe more may still be discovered before the operation ends.
U.S. President Joe Biden says airstrikes against Yemen's Houthis will continue, even as he acknowledged that the group is yet to stop their Red Sea attacks. Here's Simon Puser with more international news in Around the World in 5.
Good evening and welcome to the channel's studios here in London with your international news around the world in 5. Pakistan has launched missile strikes into Iran, killing 9 people after Iran carried out strikes in Pakistan on Tuesday. Pakistan said its strikes had hit terrorist hideouts in Iran's southeastern Sistan-Baluchistan province. Iran condemned the attack, which it said killed 3 women, 2 men and 4 children. The reciprocal airstrikes come as tensions in the Middle East are high, with several overlapping crises. Israel is fighting the Palestinian group Hamas in Gaza and exchanging fire with Iran-backed Hezbollah in Lebanon. Iran-backed groups in Iraq and Syria are targeting US forces, and the US and UK have struck the Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen, who have been attacking shipping. Pentagon officials have confirmed the US has carried out a fourth round of strikes on Iranian-backed Houthis in Yemen on Wednesday night. Some 14 Houthi missiles, which the US says may have been intended for attacks on shipping in the Red Sea, were targeted by American forces. CENTCOM, the US Middle East Command, said the sites were struck by Tomahawk missiles fired from US Navy vessels. The strikes come as the US has designated the Houthis as global terrorists.
The United States today designated the Houthis as a specially designated global terrorist group. We took this action because of their continued reckless and indiscriminate attacks on ships transiting the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. These attacks are a clear example of terrorism, violation of international law, and a major threat to innocent lives and to global commerce. Now, just a couple of points. First, today's designation targets the Houthis, not the Yemeni people. The United States remains the world's leading donor of humanitarian assistance for Yemen. We recognize that more than 15 million people in Yemen are still in desperate need of food, water, medicine.
Local activists and media say at least 10 people, including children, have been killed in suspected Jordanian airstrikes in southwestern Syria. Sawaida Fire Brigade posted photos showing crews searching for a person presumed dead after the airstrikes in Amman. There was no immediate comment from authorities in Jordan, but its forces are believed to have carried out a number of airstrikes in Syria over the past year. The UK Prime Minister Rishi Sunak has urged the House of Lords to pass his flagship Rwanda bill as he warned peers not to frustrate the will of the people. Giving a press conference after the legislation was approved by MPs, Mr Sunak said it was now up to the Lords to do the right thing, but he declined to give a date for when flights carrying asylum seekers would take off to Rwanda. The Prime Minister would only say he wanted this to happen as quickly as possible.
We need a clear and effective deterrent so that people know that if they come here illegally, they will be detained and swiftly removed. That's what this Rwanda bill delivers.
The Mozambican authorities are concerned over a strange disease that has killed more than 900 cattle in the country's central region since December. The disease is unknown to breeders and veterinary authorities. It broke out in the province of Manica on the border with Zimbabwe and has spread to 3 of the province's districts. Concerned breeders are asking for an urgent response from veterinary authorities to prevent further losses, amid fears that the disease could spread and kill more cattle. Film star Arnold Schwarzenegger has been detained at a German airport for allegedly failing to declare a luxury watch that he was planning to auction for charity. The Hollywood actor was held for 3 hours at Munich airport. An investigation for alleged tax evasion was launched as the watch was intended to be sold within the European Union. According to EU rules, anyone arriving with cash or certain valuable items over €10,000 must declare it. And the Princess of Wales is doing well in her recovery after having surgery. That's according to royal sources. Catherine has spent her second night in hospital after the operation in the London Clinic Private Hospital. Kensington Palace revealed that the princess had undergone abdominal surgery. That unexpected news was soon followed by Buckingham Palace announcing that King Charles was going to have a procedure for an enlarged prostate. The specific details of Catherine's abdominal surgery remain private, but it is understood not to be cancer-related and that it was planned rather than a medical emergency. And that's your international news around the world in 5. Now back to the Channel studios in Lagos.
Thanks, Simon. In sports is now 3-time African champions, the Super Eagles of Nigeria, have gotten their 2023 African campaign back on track as William Trude's Ekong's second-half penalty gave Nigeria a 1-0 victory over Cote d'Ivoire in front of 49,517 fans, turning up the hit on the host country, whose hope of reaching the last 16 remains in the balance. Captain Trude's Ekong converted from the spot 10 minutes into the second half at the Olympic Stadium in Abidjan after a foul on Victor Osimhen was picked up following a VAR check. The Super Eagles of Nigeria must simply avoid defeat against Guinea-Bissau to ensure a top 2 finish. And earlier, Emilio Unsek scored the first AFCON hat-trick since 2008 as Equatorial Guinea beat Guinea-Bissau 4-2 to close in on a place in the last 16, and so opened the scoring midway through the first half before a sparse crowd at the Mimpi Olympic Stadium and added 2 goals in the second half in a remarkable performance. Away from the continental showpiece, French police officers protested earlier today to press their claim for extra pay during this year's Paris Olympics, underlying the threat of strikes and disruption to the Games. Aware of the risks to the country's image, French authorities are scrambling to agree pay deals with a host of public sector trade unions who are demanding bonuses for working during the July 26 to August 11th Olympics. And that's Sports News Tonight. I am Kelly Agiga. It's back to Ayotunde.
Many thanks, Kelly. And the main news again. Search and rescue efforts continue today at the scene of Tuesday's explosion in the Bodija area of Ibadan, the Oyo State capital, as death toll rises to 5, with some residents still missing. And of course, on the programming note, next is a broadcast of Mr. Asue Godalo's declaration for the Edo State governorship race on the platform of the People's Democratic Party, only on our DSTV platform, which will be coming after our flagship, the News at 10. And that's the News at 10 tonight. Many thanks for watching. I'm Ayotunde Balogun. From all of us here, it's good night, and please stay safe.